Hi, good morning and welcome to today's class. I believe that all of you are taking good care of yourself. Today we are going to start a new lesson from your textbook First Flight. Chapter 7 Glimpses of India. This chapter consists of 3 parts. Part 1 A Baker from Goa by Lucio Rodriguez. Part 2 Coorg by Logesh Abrol. And Part 3 Tea from Assam by Arup Kumar Datta. Well, this chapter gives us some information about our country. Alright, what images of people and places come to your mind when you think of our country? Here in India we celebrate a number of festivals. So the name India brings to our mind the images of these festivals. Indians wear colorful dresses. The images of these colorful dresses also come to our mind when we think of India. India has a diversity of people, so these people, the images of these people come to our mind when we hear of India. We also think about the different geographical areas extending from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and its rich biodiversity. India was famous for its medical innovations like cataract surgery, plastic surgery, cure of leprosy, Ayurveda, and many more. The name India reminds us of the medical innovations of India. We may think of our rich culture and heritage which extends from Gita, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Sanskrit literature, and Rigveda to modern literature. We think of our patriotism, the great leaders and so many unsung heroes who sacrificed their lives in front of the guns of the British without any hesitation. We think of our women who were bold, who ruled an entire country, who fought battles and who led India. We think of our unity in diversity. The name India brings to our mind the images of our great architecture. You may now know that apart from the British, the Dutch and the French, the Portuguese have also played a great part, a great role in the history of our country. Can you say which parts of India show French and Portuguese influences even today? We have 3 such parts in India. They are Goa, Mahi and Pondicherry. Here in this lesson, we will discuss about one such place where Portuguese influence is evident even today. We will discuss about A Baker from Goa by Lucio Rodriguez. This is a pen portrait of a traditional Goan village baker who still has an important place in his society. The Portuguese have left the city of Goa, but still the traditional Goan baker has an important place in Goan culture. Even today, when people from different parts of India visit Goa, what do they bring back from there? They bring back bread from there, cake from there. So the cakes from Goa is very famous worldwide. Okay, if you are ready, let's continue with the lesson. The Portuguese may have left India, but the bread makers continue to have an inevitable place in the Goan culture. In this story, the writer recalls his childhood days and his excitement on seeing the baker. Okay, let's start the lesson. A Baker from Goa. This is a pen portrait of a traditional Goan village baker who still has an important place in his society. The lesson tells us about a Goan baker. What kind of Goan baker? Traditional village Goan baker. He has an important place in Goan culture even today. Our elders are often heard reminiscing nostalgically about those good old Portuguese days, the Portuguese and their famous loaves of bread. The narrator begins the lesson with his elders fondly remembering, fondly talking about the good old days of Goa, the days when Goa was ruled by Portuguese. They remember about the Portuguese and also they tell that the Portuguese were famous for their loaves of bread. Those eaters of loaves might have vanished. The Portuguese have already left India, but the makers are still there. But still, the bakers of bread exist in the society. We still have amongst us the mixtures, the molders, and those who bake the loaves. The Portuguese have left India long back, but still everything about baking bread is the same, remains the same. The mixers are there in the society, the molders are there in the society, the bakers are there in the society. The picture shows a furnace where bread is baked in Goa. Bread used to be baked in furnaces in Goa. Those age-old, time-tested furnaces still exist. The fire in the furnaces has not yet been extinguished. The furnaces have survived the ravages of time and still exist in Goa. Goans still bake bread in furnaces. The thud and jingle of the traditional baker's bamboo, heralding his arrival in the morning, can still be heard in some places. The sound of their arrival, the sound of the arrival of the baker, and the thud of their bamboo stick can still be heard just like the old times. Maybe the father is not alive, but the son still carries on the family profession. Even if the father is not alive, the family profession, the profession of baking, their legacy is being continued by their sons. These bakers are even today known as padar in Goa. The bakers are called by the term padar in Goa. How are the bakers known in Goa? Bakers are known as padar. Padar is a Portuguese word for baker in Goa. The picture shows a traditional Goan baker. During our childhood in Goa, the baker used to be our friend, companion, and guide. The narrator remembers that during his childhood in Goa, the baker used to act as the children's friend, companion, and guide. He used to come at least twice a day. The baker would come 2 times a day. Once when he set out in the morning on his selling round. First in the morning when he started his journey to sell his bread, and then again when he returned after emptying his huge basket. Second time he would come while going back home after he sold off all the bread. The jingling thud of his bamboo woke us up from sleep and we ran to meet and greet him. When the baker arrived in the morning, the narrator and his siblings would be sleeping. The jingling sound of his bamboo woke them up from a sleep. Why was it so? Was it for the love of that loaf? Why did the narrator and his siblings wake up on hearing the thud of bamboo of the baker? Was it because he loved the loaves of bread? Not at all. The loaves were bought by some Pascain or Bastine, the maid servant of the house. The narrator and his siblings never bought the loaves. The loaves were bought by the maid servants of the house. The maid servants of the house bought the loaves. What we longed for were those bread bangles which we chose carefully. The narrator and his siblings wanted only the bread bangles brought by the baker. The baker used to bring bread bangles and they chose their bread bangles very carefully. Sometimes it was sweet bread of special make. What were those bread bangles? The bread bangles were sweet bread of special make. The picture shows those bread bangles of the narrator's childhood. The narrator remembers those bread bangles. Those bread bangles were known as Kankan in Goa. Kankan means a bangle. So these bread bangles were distinctive ring-shaped bread that is popular all over Goa. The baker made his musical entry on the scene with the jung sound of his specially made bamboo staff. How did the baker make his entry onto the scene? The baker made his entry on the scene with his musical jung sound. How did he make this jung jung sound? By banging his bamboo on the ground. One hand supported the basket on his head and the other banged the bamboo on the ground. So you can imagine the picture of a traditional Goan baker. He would be carrying his basket of bread on his head, which would be supported by one hand, and in the other hand he used to hold a bamboo stick. This stick he would bang on the ground. He would greet the lady of the house with a good morning. As soon as he arrived, he would greet the lady of the house by saying good morning, and then he would place his basket to show them the bread and the bangles. We kids would be pushed aside with a mild rebuke, and the loaves would be delivered to the servant. So as soon as the kids arrive, the parents would push them aside with a rebuke, mild rebuke, by scolding them. The parents would scold them and push them aside. But we would not give up. But the children would not give up hope. What would they do? They would climb a bench or the parapet and peep into the basket somehow. The children would, when the parents push them aside, scolding them, the children would climb a bench or the parapet. What for? To peep into the basket. I can still recall the typical fragrance of those loaves. The narrator still remembers the sweet smell of those loaves. Loaves for the elders and the bangles for the children. The elders, the adults used to buy loaves of bread, and for children they used to buy bread bangles. The picture shows both the loaves and the bread bangles. Then we did not even care to brush our teeth or wash our mouths properly. After they bought the bread bangles, did they brush their teeth? They never took care to brush their teeth. They did not bother to brush their teeth. Why should we? They felt that they did not have to brush their teeth. They felt that it was not necessary to brush their teeth. Who would take the trouble of plucking the mango leaf for the toothbrush? In those days, in order to brush their teeth, they had to pluck mango leaves from the branches nearby. So they did not want to take the trouble when they have bread bangles in their hand. They did not have the patience to brush their teeth. They used to eat the bread bangles without brushing their teeth. Why was it necessary at all? The narrator felt that, as a child, it was not at all necessary to brush their teeth. Because animals like tigers never brushed their teeth. Did they have any problem? Did they face any problem? No problem at all. The narrator also felt that, as a child, he felt that when hot tea can wash and clean up everything so nicely, it was not at all necessary to brush their teeth. With this, we come to the end of this class today. As always, there is a small worksheet to check your understanding. There are 5 questions. All of you complete the worksheet and send in the group. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. Happy learning. Thank you.